If anything, it saved my life. Me being homeless for that small period of time allowed me to see all of the people that were in that situation and to see that these were lawyers and doctors and teachers, and that these people were white and black and Asian and Indian, and the only thing that all of these homeless people had in common was they made a bad decision and aligned themselves with drugs. And I interviewed them all. What drug? What? And guess what, Shannon? What? Nobody had a great story. Nobody had a great story of what meth had done for them, what crack had done for them, what cocaine had done for them, what heroin had done for them, what speed had done for them. Nobody had them stories. Everybody's story was, I had my life together. And then I decided to do this dumb thing. And I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my cars, I lost my reputation, and I'm now out here sucking penis in the woods. What? Talk about scared straight. You ain't got to worry about me. If it ain't weed or nicotine, you won't see me touching it. I don't want no parts. I done seen what these things can do to people. Anything that take over your free will is the devil itself.
Do this again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the We Need to Talk podcast. Listen, I want to let everybody know Convo is human, okay? I made the first mistake ever in We Need to Talk history. As you guys can see, you've seen like a little video, you've seen our intro, and you heard nothing. That's because I forgot to raise the fader. But let's get right back to it. I'm going to let you guys see the clip that we will be reacting to, and I'm going to play our lovely intro again. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in.
If anything, it saved my life. Me being homeless for that small period of time allowed me to see all of the people that were in that situation and to see that these were lawyers and doctors and teachers, and that these people were white and black and Asian and Indian, and the only thing that all of these homeless people had in common was they made a bad decision and aligned themselves with drugs. And I interviewed them all. What drug? What? And guess what, Shannon? What? Nobody had a great story. Nobody had a great story of what meth had done for them, what crack had done for them, what cocaine had done for them, what heroin had done for them, what speed had done for them. Nobody had them stories. Everybody's story was, I had my life together. And then I decided to do this dumb thing. And I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my cars, I lost my reputation, and I'm now out here sucking penis in the woods. What? Talk about scared straight. You ain't got to worry about me. If it ain't weed or nicotine, you won't see me touching it. I don't want no parts. I done seen what these things can do to people. Anything that take over your free will is the devil itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the We Need to Talk podcast. Give it up for my panel one time. For the one time. Look at my ladies to my left, man. You already know we got Jaleesa in the building. My beautiful wife, my co-host. Let's give it up for her being beautiful and my co-host one time.
Thank you, baby.
You know what I'm saying? And as you guys can see, we have a brand new panelist on our show today. I'm not going to say her name. I'm going to let her give her everythings to you guys. So I'm going to give you the floor. Let the people know who you are.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Excited. My name is Michelle Hughes.
Okay.
I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and I've lived this maybe 30 years of it in Durham, North Carolina.
Okay.
So I'm a middle school teacher. I own a hair and nail salon in Durham, and I'm just chill.
That's what's up. Hey, when she says she chill, she's chill until you ring that bell.
Don't ring the bell, please.
You ring the bell the wrong way, she gonna ring yours right back expeditiously.
Yeah.
But nah, she's cool people. She is, she's my neighbor. You know what I'm saying? We could be transparent about that. And when we first met, where we was at our other neighbor house over at the playing spades. Was that the first time we met?
At the neighborhood spades party, spades tournament.
And not to toot the horn or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Not to toot the horn. Wait, do we have our little trophy?
Show the little trophy.
Where the trophy at? Hold on, wait. We champions, man. This the little guy right here. The number one was like this big. But we ran through a couple couples, you know what I'm saying? But we got stopped by a couple in Durham. Hey, we on y'all. We need y'all back out here. We want to invite y'all to the house. You know what I'm saying? We need a rematch. You know what I'm saying? I know my girl Shelly need a rematch too.
Definitely, I'm down.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what we do, man. You know what I'm saying? As you get older, you don't want to hit the club no more. You want to play spades. You want to take a sip. You know what I'm saying? What do you do like for fun, like on your leisure?
Well, because I'm a creator, a natural born creator.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm into balloon making, so I'm going to start a design business where I do balloon and decor.
That's dope.
My free time, though, I love watching. It's funny. First 48, I watch them over and over and over.
All right.
Especially when they in my hometown. Derby City.
Okay.
But no, I love reading, watching TV documentaries. I love to draw. That's how I started with doing nails.
Nice.
Nail art, creating, all of that.
Nice. That's dope.
Yeah, as you probably get to know more, I love to talk.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we just found out something new about our own neighbor just now on the show. I ain't no balloon design. I never even heard of that. Like,
yeah, well, I don't believe when we had an Easter egg hunt for the neighborhood.
Oh, okay, yeah,
and I did all the decoration.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
Okay, she's talented, baby.
Yeah,
she's talented. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I know that this is going to be a great show because I know you are a great conversationalist. We done had a few conversations, whether on Facebook or in person or whatever like that. So you guys are going to enjoy Michelle. If you really enjoy her conversation and how she talks, man, say, you know what, we need Shelly back in here. We'll have her back in here as soon as possible.
Even if you don't.
Yeah, even if you don't, let us know. If you don't like it, we definitely going to bring her back up here some more because we don't care.
I'm likable. I'm real likable.
Yeah, we know that. But we're going to get to the topic at hand. Everybody on the internet knows, you know what I'm saying, Mr. KATT Williams. Mr. KATT Williams is everywhere. He got the internet going crazy. He got Ludacris rapping. He ain't rapping 97 years. He got comedians taking shots at him on ESPN. He got models acting crazy. He got Pat Poose to post about him. Pat Poose ain't posting mad long about nobody, but he gave him a compliment, and Pat Poose is like, oh yeah, he's the greatest, he's the GOAT. I see a lot of mixed feelings, you know what I'm saying? Some people like, man, what he did was whack. Why he exposed all of that? And other people's like, yo, he the GOAT for actually exposing stuff that we don't get to see. So he's super viral right now. So we are going to jump on the viral bandwagon, and we're going to talk about this guy. But as you guys can see, we played a clip that isn't viral. A clip that isn't being shared amongst the masses, all right? A clip with a strong message and was pretty emotional. If you paid attention to the clip that we showed, KATT was about to cry in certain parts of that clip because it was sentimental. It had a lot of value to him.
Definitely had heart in it.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? And I didn't know that KATT Williams was homeless. Did you guys know that?
No.
I didn't know it was to that extent. I remember him, talking, doing jokes about it.
Right, right.
I thought it was. I didn't know it was to that extent where the age he was.
Yeah.
How he, became homeless and how he got from Ohio to Florida.
Right. At the tender age of what? 13. 13 is crazy. So being a mother, right? How do you feel about a boy, just hearing the story of a young 13-year-old boy having a dispute with his father, and this 13-year-old boy is like, you know what? I think the best thing for me and my safety is to get up out of here and hit what he got inside of a
18-wheeler
semi truck
with his pit bull,
with his dog. How does that make you feel as a mother?
I'm not gonna let that happen.
Okay. So the question does go to, where was the mother at?
Yeah, he never really talked about his mom.
Yeah.
I don't know if she wasn't there or
She passed or something.
Yeah,
he
he didn't mention her at all. Just the father. That was really interesting. Unless she would, I don't know, like in that type of religion, was she that much of a subservient forefront?
That's right. He did say they were super religious in his household. That's
where
right.
she didn't have any pull to say anything or do anything about it.
And I don't know how old KATT is to know what year this took place. However, I do know that a lot of times, the wife, the mother didn't have a say so. It's whatever the father said, and the mother kind of just went along with
it
in the corner,
whether she agreed or not.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's a sad reality. And I get why women, especially black women, are fighting for so much equality and stuff like that, because they have a voice as well. And if what Michelle said was true, if the mom had, let's imagine this was the actual situation and the mom did have a voice, maybe there wouldn't have been a homeless Katt Williams. But then maybe if there was never a homeless Katt Williams, we wouldn't know who Katt Williams is.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because that probably is what made him. Being out there by yourself, 13 years old, hustling. He's doing some of the wrong thing, stealing radios. You stole my radio, I'd have been mad at you. I'd have run upside your little ass head. But, you know what I'm saying? But that probably is what made him. Maybe if he was coddled and spoiled, we would not have a Katt Williams today.
Yeah.
I can say that for most people. Everybody has a story. But it's just still strange for me to believe that at 13 all of this transpired and no one looked for there wasn't a concern out from social services and maybe it was, and we just he didn't have enough time. I'm assuming that the podcast was over 2 hours,
right,
but to really go in depth about a lot of that. But I'm just thinking, how did the 18-wheeler driver actually let you get in his truck and didn't have no questions about you and your dog?
Yeah.
That's like a charge.
I think he snuck though, ladies. I don't think it was like, yo man, let me ride in the back of your truck. I don't think it was one of those things. I think about it, a semi 18-wheeler, he's at work. He's not going to want to jeopardize it unless he's one of those guys smuggling immigrants, illegal immigrants. But I don't think that was that situation. But he did touch on it a little bit about the social services. He was like, because he had 2 little brothers. One was, I think he said, was about 5 or 6, and then the other one was like in Pampers or something like that, right? So he was like, basically it was a situation to where he asked if his brothers would be safe, and he felt a lot of remorse for like leaving these boys with this guy that was obviously abusive.
It could have been though that his mom wasn't in the picture and that he lived with dad,
right? But
even still, then I have so many questions.
Yeah.
My background is in social work, so as a social worker,
right.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like even in Florida, you sleeping in the park, the cops aren't like, nobody like, why is this little boy here every day?
Yeah.
The library that he said he went, was it a library?
Yeah, it was a library.
Nobody questioned, why are you not in school? Nothing.
I think he said that he was amid a homeless camp. So at that park, it was a lot of homeless people. So they probably had their kids with them.
Right.
So he just,
blended in.
Blended in, and he went to the library. They probably, I don't know how the school situation was, and he said he had a high IQ, so he probably could talk his way and
right into the doors,
fluently and everything. So I
could imagine that, because to this day, KATT is one of the most fluent talkers.
He is.
He don't stutter.
His vocabulary is so exquisite,
and he don't stutter.
He
don't think, it's just natural,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Right. And but I do think there was some cap in that rap though, KATT. I did the math while I was watching your interview yesterday, bro. You stated verbatim that you read since you was whatever age old, 3,000 books a year, right? there is 365 days in the year, bro. That's about 7-8 books a day. Now, I want to know how many pages were in these books for you to have to read, be able to read 3,000 books a year. But if you was able to figure it out, bro, you are on the next level. I think you should have been spoken about that. I think you would have been way more famous than what you are right now, because that is definitely something to brag about. I would tap that number like on my chest and always wear my chest out if I had those types of numbers.
Well, if it's true what he's saying about him being this genius and having this high IQ, sometimes people that's in that space don't want everybody to know, because then you're looked at
as lame.
So it could have been, and we don't really know how his family life was. He could have been in a room somewhere and just reading to escape everything.
True.
And we can assume that it was in the little books, but I know avid readers who can read a book in a day, and they're not doing anything else. And at that age, if he didn't have anything else to do, it very well could be.
That's real.
I teach middle school, so I do know there are students that will have this big book, and I'm saying there is no way, but they read it.
They get through it,
and in a time, because that's what their interest is.
Okay. Okay. There
it's
you go.
possible.
A book, but not
again,
7 or 8.
Right.
And like how you were saying, how really smart people sometimes exaggerate. That might be.
Yeah.
They have
they
a crazy imagination.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see 1,000. I can see 1,000, and 1,000 is extraordinary, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you read 1,000 books a year from the tender age of whatever to whatever, that's a lot of reading, and your literature has to be up there. And I respect you for it. I wish that I wish that he didn't have to endure the homelessness, because I've had to endure that as well as a kid growing up. There was a time where I slept on a train going back and forth. There was a time where I had a bag of clothes and some sneakers with holes on the bottom on that train. Either I was kicked out, couldn't get in anywhere, or whatever the case may be. But those days were very terrible. They were terrible to my mental, because I felt unloved, I felt unliked, I felt unwanted. I felt like I shouldn't even be here. There's no reason for me to be here. I'm on a train, and there's another homeless grown-ass man sitting there, and I'm about that age, about 13, 14 years old. Oh, well, no, it was before that. I was, about 13 years old, 12 to 13 years old. So with that being said, that did help shape me as well. You understand what I'm saying? Because from those moments, I understood ain't nothing promised to me.
Yeah.
Support from anyone isn't promised. You can hit rock bottom. I've hit that at a young age, and it's like I didn't even have responsibilities yet. You understand what I'm saying? So for me to have to experience what it's like to have to lay down on a train seat and your feet being cold, because the train is now docked at a station and doesn't go backwards the other way for another 20 minutes, and all of the cold air is just getting in and your feet is cold. Like, for a young kid to experience that's not good, but it does trigger something in your mind to say, you got to go get it.
Right.
You got to do something to never experience this. And then when I had my child, I couldn't imagine my child having to go through those things. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So sometimes, like I said a little earlier, I said, maybe if he was spoiled and coddled, we might not know who he is. And a lot of times for men, if you get too much support, then you become too lax, and you just settle for mediocrity. Do you think that, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to come on to you. Do you think that is a fact among American people? If we're supported too much, we just settle for what we have?
I mean, I agree with it, because you come complacent, and you're, it's almost like entitlement.
Right.
However, I also think that, people are going to do what they want to do.
Right.
Stuff can be given to you and you don't do shit.
Right.
Or you could be that person that's like, I'm grinding. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and I ain't gonna let nothing stop me. Right. So I just think it could go either way. It depends on that person, their drive, and what they hungry for and their grind. Right. Even the things that they don't experience. You know, it how does it affect them?
Right.
So, you know, if it really impacted you, you like, man, this will never happen again. I'm gonna make sure of it.
True.
And if not, you're like, oh well, you know, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wait for the next thing come around.
Yeah.
It's gonna help me out.
Right,
Kind of
right,
thing.
right.
So yeah.
That's real. That's real. So how do you feel about it, baby? Do you think that if a person is provided with too much support, that it can encourage complacency?
It depends on the person and their personality. Because if you look at like the Kardashians, they had things, but they made even more than what they were coddled as kids and rich, whatever. Then Kylie became the youngest billionaire. Like, so I really think it depends on the person, or even like what's his name? What's that guy's name? Trump.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah, that guy.
He's another one that was spoiled, and he still became the president. Like,
Yeah.
so it depends on the person. There are people that probably would become complacent. I heard stories about that. I guess it depends on. I would maybe more so people that aren't super rich. I could see them becoming more complacent because they're in their comfy little zone and feel like, okay, I have what I need. I don't need more.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I'm going to add a little bit to it. Well, maybe it's because of what I've been through and my mindset. If I had a whole bunch of support, I'm flipping that support. I'm going to take, if somebody donates $10 to this show, I'm going to try to turn that $10 support into $50.
That's your grind.
That's the grind. You know what I'm saying? So if I had an abundance of support, oh man, what would I do with that? You know what I'm saying? So it's not, like you said, it's how you are as a person, how you going to take this support. Are you going to just kick your feet up and be like, you know what, man, the world taking care of me anyway. I got Section 8. I got WIC coming through.
Thanks.
I got all of these government incentives. I ain't going to try to get that raise because I don't need to try to bust my ass to get that raise. I'm good with this assistance I'm getting. And that is the mindset of povertized areas in the United States of America. That's why when people get into projects, most of them don't make it out. Most of them are supported by the government and say, I don't need to until I have to. And when I have to is when the incentives start running out and they knock it at that door like, yo, look, this is about to run up with, you got to get a job or something like that. But then by then it's too late because that whole time while you were being supported, you were supposed to be working on getting out of this situation.
Yeah.
But instead we was just, what was we doing? Buying weed, smoking, drinking, turning up. You know what I'm saying? Being irresponsible. And I think as black people, that's what we lack. We lack the ability to really become successful minded.
Yeah. And I think it has a lot to do too with, like you said, that it's too much support given, and some of this stuff is generational. You know, well, my grandma lived in public housing, then my mama, and you know, then the conversation that comes behind it. Well, you know, if you stay here, you know, your rent only gonna be $35. You know, kind of thing. So, you know, if it's given to you, nobody don't put any stipulations on a time frame of, you know, when it's gonna run out.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Might as well.
And it's like, why not?
Yeah.
You know. So you have children?
Other side of that.
We'll get into that. I'm sorry.
On the other side of that, and we have talked about this. When you do make a little bit more money, you don't qualify for food stamps, but then you really do need it. Like you don't have enough money to actually make ends meet. So it's kind of like I am boxed into this because I do make $5 extra.
Yeah.
You cut off, and that $5 isn't doing anything.
Yeah, that's true. And that sucks bad, bro. That sucks bad. Yo, look, listen. Shout out to food stamps because I think food stamps is the best part of government assistance. I think we all should have food stamps.
Say that. So at least the people who don't actually qualify, like say your income, you know, don't meet the standards, but I think everybody, maybe my food stamps would be to buy some fruit and vegetables.
Okay.
Or milk and eggs and, produce,
Right.
and stuff like dairy, or something like that. But yeah, it gets to me when I'm in the grocery store and I'm spending, $200, and I got a little cart, and the people next to me is rolling through with carts falling over, and I'm like, you got children and you're buying all of this, stuff that to me is I don't want my tax dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have that. I want you to buy healthy stuff for your kids and and your family, but just not going to get stuff because you got crab legs. Why do your kids? Why do you need to buy crab legs with food stamps? I'm just saying.
Right. That's a fact.
Now we know about the food groups and fish is good. But can you get some frozen, flounder?
Some flounder, yeah.
Why do you got to have crab legs? Why do you got to have, king crab legs? I'll never be okay. I'll never be okay with that. I'm not saying anything because, like I said, I do have a degree in social work. I have a bachelor's in social work, so I do understand government programs. I understand the idea behind them and what they're supposed to do, and I've taught that to people who I've managed cases and things of that nature. However, at some point we got to look at it and say, is this really helping them?
Right.
Because if you have 3 kids and you're getting $1,200 a month food stamps, but you're selling $800. And you're taking the other $400. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, you got to do what you got to do because you can't buy diapers and sanitary napkins and those kind of things. Right. And if this is what your situation calls for, you you have to do what you have to do. Right. But I still, I'm going to be on that side of, I have a problem with, the struggle. I'm still struggling. I consider myself, I'm doing well for myself and my family. But it's still a struggle when I go to the grocery store and I'm spending $150 a week.
For sure.
And I don't have anything. But I can read where somebody's, they buying crab. See, they got crab legs on sale and they buying them up and they're having their seafood boils and all of that. And I'm over trying to figure out, plan out what we're eating for the week. Okay, we're going to have some, maybe some hot dogs and chips on this day and tuna fish on tomorrow. And,
there you go.
There you go.
So, and that's ways that you, as Black people, what we do, we ration.
Yeah.
That is the essence of us.
Some of us do. I believe some of us that understand the struggle and we have a plan of where we want to be and what we want to do. But some, they've been conditioned to where they don't even care.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. I think that with the whole food stamp thing, with everybody having food stamps, I think it'd be dope if, of course, if it was dependent on income. Okay, let's leave it there, right? So, you meet a threshold, but whatever your percentage, whatever your bracket is, just don't say, I bet we're going to give them $500 of food stamps and they get to go just spend $500 at the grocery store. No, what would be fair is, of that $500, you have to invest 10%. Every time you swipe that card, you have to invest 10% of your cash. I think that'd be fair. It'll still have us spending some money, but instead of me going to the grocery store and spending $500 in cash, I would invest $50 and $450 is being spent on the food stamps. Now I got $50 left in food stamps. And then, when I go there and spend that $50, I got to invest the $5 in cash. And now I got $5. We could keep breaking it down like that. And it's a way for us to keep being able to buy groceries and then also pay Uncle Sam.
I have I ran this by some friends one time because you was going to ask me, I do have a son. He's 22.
Right. Okay.
And, growing up, while he was under the, let me see. Actually, before he went to college, I had him on my insurance. And I was like, working for the state, to have him on my insurance, I'm paying $300 and some odd dollars a month. And just think about it. He went for an annual exam, thank God, once a year. He wasn't a sick child or anything like that. But I was paying $300 and some dollars, let's say $310. When he went to college, I took him off so he can get the insurance at the school. I now pay $50 a month for myself.
Oh.
So, so I said, for someone who's getting Medicaid, right? all them years had I been paying, okay, well, I'm going to pay $200 a month for my, to have Medicaid. We may not even use it, but I would rather be paying $200 to have some type of insurance versus now I'm paying $300 and something, and he don't even go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm saying, I feel like it's we're all like, Kat said about, having something bad happen to you, that could happen to all of us.
Right.
So I definitely agree with that. And that segment that you showed, we're all, one thing could just turn the trajectory of our lives, but some of it's too much help out here that's helping the, people, and they're taking advantage of it.
Right. So, another part of that video, he expressed that, the people that he was speaking to, lawyers, doctors, judges, these people had their life together, lit, right?
Yep, I agree.
And then one dumb decision turned them into drug addicts, made them incompetent at work. Now they're homeless.
Yeah.
And you have this sad story to tell, and nobody has a positive story to tell about drugs. Nobody has said, yo, look, I shot this meth up, bro, and I became the best architect in the world.
Right.
Nobody has flipped drugs into a positive. But what saddens me is hip hop culture, right? Hip hop culture says, use the drugs to be cool.
And they glorify it.
Right. Use those drugs to be cool. Man, it's at a point to where now, don't go to school at all, bro. Just go ahead and be a gamer, be a streamer or something like that. Now I get, promoting other ways to make money, but to say don't go to school, look, I look at school like this, okay? There's a difference between being educated and just straight up smart, okay? You can't teach someone to be smart, all right? I look at education like this. Education just tells the masses that you are disciplined enough to get through something. Okay? That's what college is. Yep. College is a trial of discipline. If you don't go to school, if you don't do your papers, if you don't, pass certain curriculums and everything like that, how are these jobs going to expect to depend on you to do heart surgery on Jaleesa? To prescribe Convo some albuterol efficiently? You know what I'm saying? How are we going to trust you if you've never shown that you have the backbone to get through and be disciplined? I think that's what school is. Yes, it comes at a cost, but we get these good wages. You know what I'm saying? Potentially, hopefully. But that's what I look at school, like the higher grades of school. Yes, of course, from like kindergarten to maybe ninth grade is very necessary, but a lot of high school and college, we be learning stuff that why do I need to know the Pythagorean theorem?
Well, I'm as a teacher, I teach 8th grade. Okay.
All right. Okay. So what's up?
So let's just say, I have a master's in education. I teach. It's in special education. It's a master's. However, I'm also licensed in general education. Okay. So I think last year was the first year I had to teach math in a general education classroom as a co-teacher, right? And a lot of the stuff that, that we've been taught, unless the teacher is teaching in a way where you can apply it to real life situations, that's always the question. And kids, why I gotta know this? Well, if you own a house and you plan on getting the floor laid and you don't know area, then the person that's coming to lay your floor could tell you that you need X amount of feet and take that to the other job. Okay. So, but if you don't know yourself, so
there you go. Hey,
but Pythagorean theorem, if you need a ladder because you need to get on your roof. Do you know how big of a ladder do you need, how tall, or how far it's going to come out so it can reach your roof? That's what it's all about. And until I really started, taking in that perspective with kids to get them to learn, right. I'm gonna be honest, I've never used none of this. That anything that I learned math wise, other than how to balance my checkbook, right? That's what's most important. Even with doing my income tax, I don't have to do any adding or subtracting or anything like that, to be honest.
Right.
You just plug in numbers.
Right.
So I'm saying it to say that, it is very important, the early learning, and how you apply it is even more important, right? Because you ask the student now, well, what do you plan on doing when what job? I don't know.
Right.
They have no idea, why they are learning what they're learning now. It is to potentially, add to your future.
Right.
And if you choose to be a gamer, there are still some things you need to know. You might not be using the Pythagorean theorem every day,
Right.
but maybe it comes up and you have the knowledge, the skill. We're trying to teach them how to go and get the information if you need it.
Critical thinking.
Right? Yeah. And that's where our students are struggling.
Yeah.
Is that critical thinking, how to, without somebody telling you.
Right.
It goes back to what you said about, someone giving you and all of that. Well, if, I always say to my students, so you mean to tell me, reading, everybody can read. If
Right.
you've gotten through kindergarten, first grade, they taught you phonics. You can sound it out.
True.
And you can read a word. Comprehension is where the key. That's the key, right? Do you understand what you're reading?
Right.
That's important. So you're going to be on your job and they hand you this pamphlet to read and come back and you got to do something with it. And what you going to do? Go home and ask your mom or dad
Right.
to help you?
Right.
And I'm just going to be the first to say, because I am in the classroom every day, some of the parents they can't read it. They can't do it. They can't tell you nothing.
That's true.
And so,
true.
I'm a product of my dad and my mom. They didn't graduate high school. They didn't go past the 5th grade. So it was really important to them. I mean, education, when you came home, you sat at the table. It wasn't no go outside and play, get on your phone, no gentle parenting. Get a snack and sit down and rest for a few.
Right,
and
right.
then I want you to, do your chores. No, you came home and you sat at that table, as my daddy would say, get your lesson.
Right.
And, everything had to be done. They couldn't check behind to make sure it was done. They depended on the teachers, to call and let them know. But they couldn't check over anything. So, for me, it was why it was real important for my son that, no, I need to see what you're doing.
Right.
I'm going to check. I don't care if it's at 12 o'clock. If I get home, I'm going to check over that work.
That's real. That's real. And that's the old school way of doing it, man. And shout out to, doing things the right way.
Yeah.
Because, and shout out to your parents.
Yeah.
The reason why I really say shout out to your parents is because they stopped education at 5th grade. So they didn't really have a great educational career. Okay,
Yeah.
we could say that, right? But they enforced it. They enforced something they was deprived of, and that is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, to enforce something you've been to. How do you even know how to enforce something you've never experienced? That means that you have to get somewhere in here. You have to tap into somewhere inside of your mind and inside of your heart because you care about this person. I wasn't able to have an education, but you're my child and I love you. And I'm going to make sure that you do this the right way because I messed up. I was in a messed up situation to where I couldn't get this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do what I got to do. Even if, we ain't eating no snacks, we getting to it. Because I want to make sure, I want to be for certain that this gets done.
Yeah.
So that's dope. Shout out to your parents for that, man. For that stat alone, that is great. Because what it reminds me of, I grew up in the ghetto. It reminded me of a bunch of the mothers in the ghetto. Now, okay, maybe, they made some mistakes in life, which landed them in the ghettos and whatever their stories are, right? But I can definitely tell you that the women, not even more so the men, the women in our communities were community women. I knew for damn sure I couldn't walk past Miss Cheryl talking about, yeah, shit and ass this. She go, Jimmy, what you, boy, I'm going to tell your mother. She going to get on me. She on my tail. So I had to wash my mouth, not just in front of my mother, but I had to sneak around Miss Cheryl too, and Miss Gladys down the block.
You can't do that no more this day and time.
It's different. We're not community based anymore.
Right.
It's like we're gangs,
Yeah.
like my gang against yours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's terrible and it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because when I'm not home, who can I depend on to look after mine?
That's right.
Who can I depend on, bro? Back in the days, they depended on their neighbor. they liked each other. My mom's what? That's why me and Jalisa came here. We turned up. We want to meet everybody. Yo, what's up? Yo, come to the house.
That's how I was when I moved here.
Right.
Nobody wants to.
When I hopped on the Facebook group, because I like to know the people I live around and build community. It's important,
right?
And if this is my second home, so is this where I'm going to be till like when I turn old?
Right.
I might need y'all to come over and check on me.
Right.
Help bring the groceries in. Your son bring the groceries in. So I'm just saying,
for sure.
You never know. But again, we have to look at today's time and everything that's going on. Back in the 60s, they didn't have a choice. They had to depend on community, and it was all of the same kind in the community. And when you live in a community like we do, where there is it's very culturally diverse, we have to depend on and hope and pray that everybody is culturally relevant, in on the same page and have the same, hopes and dreams and aspirations that that we all do.
Right. I want to get into this because I know you're an educator, and I love that for you. We've never had a conversation with a professional educator before, but we are career parents. We've been parents since we were 17 years old, so we have questions, okay? So I'm going to start it off with Jalisa, and then we'll hit off with you, and then I'll also chime in as well. Babes, what do you think the curriculum in modern, education is missing? What do you think the curriculum was missing in the curriculum? Or do you have anything that you could say like is faulty in the curriculum?
I could say a lot of things because my formal education was a private school education, and going from private school to public school and high school, it was horrible. Even before that, when I see my friends, their homework or whatever, it's not good. They don't teach, and I think it's because there's so many different types of children that you have to deal with. They have to try to make it basic for everyone, but then that also doesn't make you go up a level, especially for the kids that's already higher. Like it's really basic things that they teach, and they don't want to go above that to make them more, to give more knowledge, I feel like.
Right. Okay, so instead of going straight to Michelle, I'm going to chime in, and then we'll have you chime in since you're the professional. As a parent, I feel like what's missing from the curriculum is knowledge on how to spend your money, how to invest your money, how to be a successful businessman / woman. I don't think that I feel like we don't know, we're taught to make money, but we're not taught how to manage money. And I think that's what's keeping us broke, because we're getting this money, we're getting this tax return, right? You know what the first thing we on the phone looking for? Who got the next biggest TV deal? I want to find a new Montclair coat, you know what I'm saying, for $2,100. I want to blow this money. As soon as I get it, I want to blow it. Or I want to put some new rims on my car because I want my neighbors to think that I got a whole bunch of money. You understand what I'm saying? That's how we think, generally as black people. You know what I'm saying? We always want to try to one-up one another, right? Even if we don't really got it, we want the perception of it. So I feel like as a father, watching my kids get older as the day goes by and hearing the things that they want when they do get some money, I feel like our kids should be taught money management and have more like business in the curriculum. Now I'm going to turn it over to you and ask you the same question. As a professional educationer, what do you feel like the curriculum is missing, or do you feel like the curriculum is on point and is where it should be at?
Well, I agree with both of what you guys said. However, we have to so the first part is the curriculum. The curriculum has changed from when we were in school, okay? Because the world has changed. So I didn't see nothing wrong with the curriculum and the way we taught when I was in school, the way I learned. But with us in this 21st century of learning, you know, it's always and with technology being introduced,
Right.
you know, what can we do different? You know, it's, oh, let me change something. Because even as an educator, as a teacher, we're stressed out that every year that we get this new program that we got to expose the kids to. Well, we didn't even give that one enough time to even, you know, to see if it worked. But one of the things, I don't find a problem with the curriculum. I think we can always add. However, when you were talking about, I guess, the complexity of what is been given versus like a private school and a public school, a lot of that is resources. When you in a private school, if you're paying, you know, of course, with anything, if you're giving me your money, I'm gonna make sure that I got top-notch things for you.
For sure.
So
At least that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is one thing, but I think the level of the teachers right now, it's a state of emergency for educators. So the curriculum is there, but is the teacher bringing that curriculum, bringing that out in the classroom, right? Some teachers don't want to be there.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest, the pay sucks.
Yes.
I didn't go into it for the pay. I went into it for to have insurance and to have my summers off. I'm gonna be honest.
Got you.
I was only gonna teach for 1 year, and this is year 20 for me. You know, but I love seeing the aha moments, right? I love when students get on to high school and graduate and they reach back to me. So that's why I stay with. It's not for the money. And you know, and I make it very clear to them that I can go work at Walmart and McDonald's, and if I got to work 2 40-hour jobs, I'm gonna bring home what I make teaching. Right. But I'm gonna be happy, and I'm not gonna deal with everything that I have to deal with in the school section.
Right.
Now, as far as like business, you're saying teaching, you know, how to manage your money, all of that. I'm just gonna keep it real. That was taught to me at home.
Talk it.
And it was very important for me to do the same thing with my son.
Okay.
You know, I did things like when he was 13, I added him to my credit card as an authorized user so that his number, you know, can
he can have a jump start.
And he has 800 now at 22. He ain't had no credit, you know, he don't have nothing.
Hey, young man, I will be get in touch with your mom. I need a cosign on the new Benz.
And he know about that too. He don't cosign for nobody. I don't cosign. I don't cosign for him. Matter of fact, he need to get up off my the insurance and pay his own car insurance. Yeah. But real talk though, that's important. It's got to start at home. I heard my parents talking every day about budgeting, save your money, you know, making your money work for you, making sure that you're on a job that you can retire from. Don't switch jobs, you know. Even though my parents didn't graduate, they didn't get past 5th grade, they had to stop to start working in their families. I had older parents. I'm the oops baby, like, you know. So,
the oops baby.
So, you know, they had to start working. And again, you know, everybody got their own story. But that's what they had to do. So that's why they didn't have the opportunities that I have now.
Right.
Where I can go to college, I can get a degree, and I can be anything I want to be.
Right.
And that was one thing they preached to us. You know, don't let nothing stop you from doing whatever it is you want to do.
Right.
You know, I always joke with my friends, if my parents were living and they came to my house now, they would be happy for me, but they would be upset. Because you don't need this. You don't need to live here. You know, it's just too much.
Right.
You know, for them, it'll blow their mind.
Right.
I grew up in the hood, right? And everybody came to stay there. We never moved. They bought a house for $7,000, and we never moved.
Right.
You know, but anybody else have a hardship, they came to stay with us. So it was always being preached in our family about saving your money, making your money work for you. You know, making sure that you know, you're paying your tithes. You know, I am a Christian. I go to church and I do that.
There you go.
But you know, a lot of stuff that the expectations of, especially with public education, I feel like a lot of parents put so much on public education.
Yes.
And there are some things that you can work as a parent with us, right? Those kind of things, you know, it can be taught at home too. They are learning it in math. Yeah. It's just in a different form, you know.
Right.
But, you know, I agree. Some of the extracurricular classes we used to have, you know, they could develop right now a class to teach students about credit and, how to invest,
Right.
The money market, all that kind of stuff. But let's be real about it. Who was that really created for? Not black people.
The white man. We get it.
So
The privileged.
Yeah. So if depending on the neighborhood where you live and where your child goes to school, they may be, having those discussions, and it may be a teacher that really cares about it and want to make sure your child knows it. But depending on who's in that classroom, who's giving these things to your kids, who's having those conversations with them.
Right.
I always tell my students, you're not going to find another Miss Hughes. I'm telling you, I keep it real. I have nothing to hide.
Right.
I keep it real with them. I think a lot of times too, kids think teachers are these foreign animals, like we don't have a real life.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I'm like, I gotta go to another job when I leave here because I got things I'm trying to do.
Right.
I like to drive a nice car. I got a nice house. Like I'm doing things, and you can have the same.
Right.
And I have to show that here's the the process of what you need to do.
Right.
But I get it. Some of our students now, their parents are younger. They're dealing with the things that we're talking about now. Homelessness is a huge problem.
Yes.
And we can begin to talk, the rent.
Yeah.
If your rent is $700 and you've been paying that, and now it's going up $400, and your check didn't go up $400, and you barely making it now, where do you get that $400 from?
Right. Right.
And
that stress, I know for a fact that trickles down to the children. Because in the household, we don't, the child don't understand that the rent went up $400. All we know is, damn, mommy done cursed me out for no reason because I left a cup on the table.
Right, right.
And us, the child not being able to see past the attitude, that can break up a great relationship between parent and child. Because now this child feels like, man, my parents don't even like me like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's a hurtful feeling.
Yeah. And we're in a different time now where, parents can have that communication.
Right.
I'm not saying you got to tell your child all the nitty gritty of what's going on, but make them aware so they don't, be like, well, they keeping everything together. And then boom, something happens. They're confused about why this happened. But you went to work every day.
Yeah. And
why were you paying the bills? Then I know in KATT's time, for him, we don't know what's going on, but it could have been some issues, with communication. Because I know in my household with my brother, my brother's deceased now, but I remember the relationship between him and my dad just wasn't that great, where they can have that sit down, let me go to my dad and tell him. He always went to my mom, about anything he was going through, and I had a lot to do with the way that we were raised. My dad was real stern, and mean. We used to say he was mean. As I got older, and got on my own, I understood every single thing.
Yeah.
It made sense. He was just protecting me, and that was his way to protect.
Right.
Is it the way I raised my son? Absolutely not.
Right.
If you put that cup on the table and you forget, I'm not getting ready to, whoop you and you're punished and don't go out. No.
Right.
You get this cup off the table, make sure, and if you don't, we're going to have some issues, right?
Yeah.
You might not have no cups. So now what you going to drink?
Right.
And then we're on to have a conversation. But I'm not going to be yelling, whooping you and all that. I don't think it, it requires all of that.
So what you just said there is an exact illustration of the further down the generation goes of parents, the more lenient we do get with children. Because we don't want to put our kid through what we felt that we experienced with our parents. So we kind of soften up so that they could have more of an understanding. Like you said earlier, you was like, it's not going to be when you come home, you can have a cracker and this, that, and the third. When that parent probably was raised, that parent probably wasn't offered a cracker.
Right.
And she probably was offered a cracker. So she said to herself when she was in her room one Christmas Eve, crying probably, man, when I have children, I'm going to make sure that it's offered a cracker. Because I could really use a cracker right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now,
12 o'clock was a long way ago.
you know what I'm saying? So when we do that too much, that's when I think we lose the power as parents. Because the dangerous thing is what you said earlier too. You said, you know, your dad was very stern. As children, you couldn't understand it, but as you got older and you became a parent, you understood everything that man was saying and doing. But you weren't able to appreciate it as a child, right? Because you're looking at it through a child's lens, okay? That is the problem that cannot be solved in parenthood. Because there's no way that you can get a child to see or feel what you feel as a mother or father. It's impossible. They are going to have to go through those trials and tribulations as they step through life, and then later on understand why mommy was like that with the cup on the table. She was teaching me discipline. She was teaching me to be clean. No, it didn't hurt her. She wasn't coming in and getting sick by the cup. But there's certain rules I have to follow, and I have to get used to following rules, because in life, that's what I have to do. In America, I have to follow rules. And Mom Dukes is teaching me this at the crib, like what you just said. At the crib, this is my home training. So now when I step out, I can be a more productive person in society.
Yeah.
But kids aren't going to think that way.
Right.
But I think that it's our job as parents. I think it's our due diligence to hold on to those tough times that our parents put us through. To try to rationalize and see why she cursed at me that day. Did she have to say that to me 4 or 5 times? Was this something that I did? Right? And then when you do rationalize and you say, like, oh, no, she did that for no reason, no way I could understand it, then, okay, maybe your mom was being, you know, an a-hole at the moment. But if you can say to yourself, I was a little hard-headed, and, you know, I was being a little slick. Yeah, when I got up, I was going in the pantry and eating up the snacks and all of that and doing everything I was supposed to do. You take accountability and you understand. What I try to tell my kids is, look, you ain't going to understand what I'm saying to you right now. You ain't going to understand it. It's going to take you a few years, right? But I never want you to be in a position to where you have to tell anybody in this world, my daddy didn't.
Right.
I'm always there. I'm always talking to you. I'm always talking life into you, whether you understand it or not, whether you feel it's too stern or it's too aggressive. Oh, daddy, your voice projects. I am a military veteran. I can't help it. But guess what? When I do speak to you, I speak into you. I'm making sure that it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. I'm not even speaking to your ears. I'm speaking to your chest. I want this to go in here and stay here. I don't care about your ears.
Right.
I want this to change your soul, dead ass. Yeah. So that's, and I think that's a father thing. Your brother liked to go to your mom because it's easy to talk to mom.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying?
It was definitely hard for me too. We all went to my mom because she, you know, different parents have different parenting roles. For
sure.
And it was the same thing with Brian and I.
And they have different parenting styles too. Yeah. I learned that from Jaleesa a few years ago.
Yeah, because my husband, he never said nothing. He was not no type of disciplinarian or anything. Mm-hmm. He would tell me, you know, tell Bryson to do
Oh, okay.
Well, man, you right there. If you don't go tell him to, you know, clean up all of them dishes, you know, that he or something like that. I'm like, he's right. Why do I gotta be the mean one?
Right,
and even tell him something, you know. But that's just his personality, and you know, that's just what he did. He never I would say, man, when he get old, he gonna run over you because you don't tell him, you know, and you know. But that was our we both have different stories, and that's what I'm learning in this era of my life, and that I always tell people is about. Keep in mind that your parents have a story too. Right. So give them grace, you know, even because when you get older, you come. I would tell my son, please don't be, when he was in college, don't be up there telling them no stories about, you know, that your life was hard. I said, because it was not. It wasn't. You didn't live. You never even saw a beer can on the side of the street or anything. Right. I'm like, and I walked to school. Yeah, we saw needles and everything, but you've never even seen none of that stuff. Yep. So please don't go making my mom didn't know, because you didn't experience none of that. Right. So you know your story. You don't have a story that's bad.
Right, and that's because you are working so that they don't have that story.
Right, and I also expressed to him, I shared with him, you know, my story, things that, you know, from my point of view, so that he could understand. And I used to tell you may not understand it right now, but the talks we have now at 22, you know, he's like, Mom, I understand why you said such and such now. You know, I understand why you did such and such. Right.
You know what I get to, Michelle? I'm going to pass the mic to you too, babe. I know we're going back and forth. When we do have those conversations with our kids and we live in homes like this, they don't really believe us. They don't believe us. Because trust me, I grew up in the worst conditions. You understand what I'm saying? I know what it feels like to eat sugar sandwiches. I know what it's like. I know the stories. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. But when I'm in a house like this, I drive the cars I drive, and I tell my daughters, look, I struggled. I grew up in the hood. This, that, and that. I look like, man, what hood you grew up in? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't grow up in no trenches. Because you know why? When they go down the block to their friend house from school, and their parents are still in the trenches, that's what the trenches is supposed to look like. The trenches is supposed to look like a person that stays in the trenches. They don't really know that you can make it out, and they don't believe the make it out process. Mm-hmm. So when you're telling them these stories, yeah, it could go in one ear out the other because they don't really believe it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's sad, because since forever, since 2006 or 7, I have strived to provide a great life for my kids and my wife. You know what I'm saying? And have them have their first experiences with me, and we do everything as a family. It's my mission. I was going to say that is my mission to this day till I die. But unfortunately, I don't think it will be received or appreciated until I'm gone. But as long as I have that confidence that one day it will be received, I'm going to keep working towards it, because I'll be able to look down and smile at it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I understand that as a father, because the same thing happened with my dad. My dad was the greatest dude in the world, right? But there was times where I thought he was lame. You're an old head, bro. What you mean this jersey ain't going to be lit next year? This jersey going to be lit forever. And he telling me, yo, Jimmy, you don't know what you're talking about, bro. Times changed. Trends changed by the day. This $400 jersey you want me to spend money on is not going to be worth anything next year. Next year, something else is going to be popping. Yo, Dad, come on. You sound like an old head, bro. I thought you was cool, man. Now I'm losing faith in his coolness. You know what I'm saying? Until next year hit, and now I'm asking him for $200 for a button-up. And he got to tell me, Jimmy, what happened to that jersey you wanted last year that you swore to God was going to be popping this year? And I had to be like, damn, you right, bro. You right. And that was a growing up moment. You know what I'm saying? But back to the Katt Williams, the clip that we showed, I think that I have a better understanding of Katt Williams and why he is so much of a firecracker at times, because he legit has a reason. With that, mental health, right? Not all cases of mental health is given at birth. You can develop mental health by having too many traumatic experiences. Now, do you think that people that has mental health problems from trauma and everything like that, do you think they deserve a pass or some type of understanding and like sympathy? You know what I'm saying? Just to be assholes sometimes.
That's crazy. I was just watching an episode of that show I'm watching, All Rise, and it had a soldier that developed PTSD, and he would go into the bars and get into fights. And this time it got a little too out of hand, and he ended up in jail. So the whole question was, should he be granted some leniency because he went through this? Or is he competent enough to know better? Like, you know that you're not supposed to do this. In the end, I think it was a good compromise, because he had to go to jail for a year, but also in jail, he was mandated to get the help that he needs for the PTSD. So maybe something like that will merge the two. Like, I don't think they should get leniency. I think they should get help. Mm-hmm. But also, you have to suffer a consequence for your actions, because you're not, like, it's wrong at the end of the day.
Right. I think I saw you, Michelle, put a comment under our last episode about Sexy Red. What's your viewpoint on it, especially being an educator and being around all these young girls? How do you feel about, hip hop and, characters like Sexy Red being an influencer?
You know what? I see that play out every day in the schools. Mm-hmm. Everything that they're seeing on these videos, everything that's on social media, everything that's in the song. I would tell the kids, if I pulled out the lyrics to one of these rap songs right now, and we did some language arts work, you'd have an A. Because I mean, if you apply what I'm teaching to that,
right?
Because that's the same thing. You know, instead of me giving you this, you know, this text, I'm gonna give you that, and you know, but it's, I guess, you know, I look at it a couple ways. Again, parents are gonna let their children do what they want to do. Because I can remember being 13 and we pulling out, my friend's family had, you know, one of the radios with the record player in the middle.
Yeah.
And we listened to Clarence Carter, and they did a lot. It was all his songs were sexual.
Yeah,
you know?
shake your booty stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
and it was talking about it was sex related. The lyrics were, if you really listen to it, you know, put it in, take, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But we used to be laughing about it, right? But it was telling a story.
Right.
And it's the same thing. They didn't have videos back then. So if you the type of person that can listen and
visualize
and put two and two together, you know what they're talking about.
Right.
And so if they heard us playing it, come put that back up. I told you stay out of that, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't readily available. I couldn't pull up on my social media on YouTube and look at this video. Right? Because I really didn't know. I'm gonna be honest, like I stay up for stuff so that when my kids at school, you know, I know the lyrics, I know who's what, but the song can start playing and I don't know, I can't tell you who sing it, but
right.
I know, you know,
it's inappropriate.
Yeah. The words. And I always tell them, like, I listen to the beat. If they can just take all the words away and I just hear the beat, you know, I can jam.
Yeah.
I don't, but when I'm listening to them, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I done some research one day because my husband, he loves music.
Right.
So he's blasting that video on his big screen. And I'm like, that girl look pregnant. Wait a minute. Why is she in the video? You know, so I said, I said, wait a minute, rewind that. And this was back over the summer.
Yep.
And I was like, wait a minute, who say that? And I started looking out, and then I'm like, why do they have in the video pregnant and the way she's, I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
But these kids see it and their brains are not developed enough to say, hey, something's wrong with that. That's, you know, the girls, they look so young.
Right.
So, you know, they're fitting the age group.
Yeah.
So they're just mimicking what they see.
Right.
But we did the same thing. However, it was no, you're not ready to wear that, dress like that. You know, I couldn't even wear shorts with stockings up under them to school. And that was the style.
Right.
You know, you was wearing tights up under some corduroy shorts. No, my daddy said, take that off.
Right.
Because that's not appropriate. And I was like, well, I wouldn't put on a skirt and still wore, you know, the same tights, but I got on the bus and put the shorts back on. But I knew before I got home, it wasn't bad. But what the kids are doing now with that, if the parents are not having the conversation about what this image is doing and, you know, that, of course, sex sells. This is advertising. This is music. This is acting. You know, this is not for real stuff. Right?
Right.
If they're not having that conversation, that's where the problem lies. Right?
Right.
The person who took that video that you showed, you know, with the little kid dancing. Now, you know, when we were little, a kid would say something funny or whatever, and we laugh, but this is out of hand.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because at that age, and when you see somebody that you love laughing and giggling and edging you on, you begin to think that that's the right thing to do. That's the way.
Right.
And as long the person who actually filmed it and posted it, you know, it's just we can take this to all kinds of stuff. Back to talk about the R. Kelly stuff.
Right.
You know, people that are around who are allowing this.
Right.
You know, even at my school, I don't even you know, in this era, I'm not even allowing somebody to tell a black joke or talk about somebody with a special need. I stop everything. Hold up.
Right.
You know, it's not appropriate.
Right.
You know, so.
Remember back in the days when our parents used to say, stay in a child's place? Mm-hmm. You don't hear that no more.
Right.
Because children, they're coming around, they're mingling with adults.
Yeah.
They at the spades table. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's another thing that us as our generation of being a parent, our generation of parents, we're lacking in discipline. Because we as kids, be looking from a kid's lens, we wanted to be around the adults sometimes. They laughing.
Right.
I want to hear the joke.
Right.
You know, it sounds like they're having fun at that spades table. I want to see what that look like. So I want to go down there and peek around, walk around the table, act like I'm throwing something in the garbage. And then my mom, Jimmy, get your behind in that.
Right.
Go in there with them kids.
Right.
Because she know there's alcohol. There's probably some cigarettes over there. They talking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They vulgar. You know, back in the day, it was vulgar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she don't want me to be, you know, in the presence of that.
Right.
But as a kid, I'm like, man, mommy being mean.
Yeah.
When I have children, though, I'm going to let my kids come to the spades table because I want to be at the spades table.
Right.
Now that I got kids, now what? Oh, yeah, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be there. So, Jaylene, you guys want to come and learn? Come on over. Now, what did I just do?
Well, I think I don't really. I'm gonna say in this. Here's the thing. Kids are gonna see this anyway because they got devices now.
Right.
So there's not. You cannot stop it. I
Right.
tell parents, oh no, such and such don't. My child can't go on this. Baby, they got oh no, my child don't have social media. Baby, they friend do, and they pull out their phone at school, and honey, they own it.
Yep, they own their friends joint.
They done got an account, and they just log in on their friend stuff.
Yep.
So you can't get away with it. And as a teacher, I'm not going to watch every move your child make to see if they logging in. When I say do X, Y, Z, are they at lunch with their phones out or before school or on the bus? You know, they're saying, oh, look at this. I'm going to show you this. You know, I was leaving work and I walked through the after school program and a little boy was on his laptop and they're eating their snack because that's the first thing they do. And two of them, they sitting back at some tables, and whatever cartoon was saying something like, put your nuts on my mouth or something.
Yeah, my son be seeing things like that on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what it was. They was watching YouTube, and I said, you know what? And I think he's a 7th grade. He's probably like 12. And I was just like, I just kept on walking because I'm like, this ain't my fight right now. I'm on my way home, which, you know. But I'm just saying it to say your kids are exposed to all of that. And if the parent is not paying attention and monitoring to have a conversation about it, you know, because I have to say, when my son was young, he used to watch Adult Swim. And my husband used to watch it. And I'm like, why is he watching that? And that's not right, you know. So I can't stay up and I can't monitor, you know. Well, we could have. It came after the fact where you can
turn off through the
channels, something with the channel. I mean, he was watching TV, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I was hearing stuff. And I said, I just thought it was cartoons. But then I sat down, and it wasn't always curse words, but even, you know,
the imagery,
Family Guy.
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I had to have a conversation with him about what he's watching because I'm not going to always be around it and say, you know, you can't watch that. Right. So we had to watch it together, and I had to explain to him some of those things, you know, because I can't entrust that he's at somebody's house and they're not watching it, so he knows, you know, things. This is adult stuff.
So do the do educators realize? Can they fathom the fact that? Because I know that you know, teachers put a lot of accountability on the parents, as they should. These are our children, right? So they say, you know, it starts at the house. You know, the parents got to teach. The parents got to teach. Do the educators realize that our children relearn after they step outside of the household? Like, we can train and teach them to be a certain type of individual in this house, but the moment they leave them doors and step on that bus, they are a completely different child. Their morals are different. They get slick. They log on their friends' phones and stuff like that, stuff that we can't control. And then when you call the parent over, you wondering why they, oh my God, not mommy, don't call my mommy, don't call my, because they know that discipline is there, but they being slick. So how do the educators, how do y'all meet a middle ground when it comes to putting accountability on either social media and outside influences versus the parent at home?
Well, the first thing that as an educator you have to do is build a relationship with the parent.
Okay.
You know, I don't have like, I know my parents, where I'm gonna call, you know, and I guess my approach to how I'm going to start talking about your child, I'm not going to call and say, oh, well, your child is, you know, hey, you know, Miss Smith, I got Jaleesa in class now. She's been doing great. And she comes to the class, everything, but I'm gonna have to, I have some issues I'm having now.
Right.
And I haven't been having them all year. And I know that these are things that at home you're not teaching or allowing. So it's the communication. And I'm just calling you because I know, and at the end of the conversations, I would thank you so much, Miss East, for calling me and reaching out, and I'm gonna have a conversation, because no, that's not my expectation.
Right.
But I've had some that flip and want to cuss me out, and I have to meet them where they come from.
Right.
But I do understand it as an educator, that when they, because we're all trying to find our way in the world, especially at that age, you're trying to figure out who you are. You want a group of people. Nobody wants to be alone. You want to have friends. You want to fit in.
Right.
And I tell my students that, like, I get it. Okay. Right. But we got to start training them to think about the future and about, I got this saying I always tell the kids, what about if, I used to tell my male students this when I taught, some all males in a behavior program. And I said, then you got your pants sagging and you going to Roses. And then in, 5 years, you're looking for a job because now you're 16, you will make a little money and you go apply. And they remember when you came in after school, maybe you was with your grandma or somebody, and you was that boy that had your pants sagging. And unfortunately, we live in a world that they're going to remember that and hold that against you.
That's real.
And you could maybe not sag no more, but it's too late, right? So I always try to make them think about what's going to happen 5 years from now. Who are you going to be 5 years from now?
Right.
And how is what you're doing now going to impact, and who's around you? I remember and I keep it real to my time. I remember being on the bus. I couldn't wait to get on the bus and be cussing. I'm looking around and see if I see any of my mama friends on the city bus so I can say shit.
Right. Turn up.
Yeah. But, you never know. And who knows? And I taught my son the same way. I'm going to let you be a kid. You're going to be cursing. I know that.
Right.
But be mindful of who's around you, because you never know who knows, your people.
Right.
My son is 22, and we've been in Medford now. It'll be 2 years in April. He don't live here because he lives in Greensboro. He come to visit. He got a room here, but he don't know nobody in this area.
Yeah.
He still uses GPS to get home from Greensboro.
Damn.
He was at the food line up the street, and somebody I used to work with saw him, and he just remembered him because he see him when I post him on Facebook. And he was like, you're Michelle's son. He said he was looking at him like, who is this man?
Yeah.
So he kept like, Mom, I seen this man, and he said that he knew me, and he's your friend, and he worked with you, but he had dreadlocks, but he cut them, and I knew exactly what you're talking about. I said, I know exactly who you're talking about. I said, you never know who know you, son. Right. I'm talking about. Be mindful of how you carry yourself.
Right, that's a fact.
So all of these things are important, as a teacher, and even with parents, just, keep on talking to your kids.
Right.
Keep talking to your kids. It's gonna sink in, and they're gonna think about that. Because when my dad was being so hard on me growing up, I used to be like, dang, But in the back of my head, when I was going to do something, I was like, I know my daddy wouldn't approve of this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
And, I deal with the consequences if they come.
Right.
But at the end of the day, he never stopped talking. It never stopped seeking in. And when I needed, to go back to that lesson that was taught to me, I remember, I'd still do it. I remember my daddy said to do such and such,
Right.
So as an educator, I can't hold the parents 100% accountable, because I know that they're probably at home doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
When the kids leave, you're not there. You at work, you expect them to be, making the right choice. But all it takes is a second, because them kids got a second to make a decision.
Right.
Like Cat Williams said, you can be doing everything and have everything going right for you, and that one decision will mess you up.
Turn your whole life around, and the next thing you know, everything you work for is out the window.
Yeah.
So I want to just talk to my viewers. I see we have a few of you guys, about 50 of you guys on Instagram. Don't be too shy to leave a little chat over there. And, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go head up to Facebook. Go ahead and do everything. YouTube is being a little boring tonight. They out there partying. They ain't leaving no chats tonight. But, we're going to get them lit. So everybody on Instagram, you can go over on YouTube and hit a subscribe. But I just wanted to give this little message right here to the parents with the dialogue that we just had with my sister over here, Michelle, who is a professional educator. Parents, we need to be one with our children's education system. This isn't something that's new. This isn't new news, okay? They've been asking us for years, especially after the pandemic hit. That was the time where we was really supposed to get in tune with our children's educators and the staff alike. Just because they go to school, they don't just deal with the teachers, they deal with the principals, the janitors, the cooks, everybody. We got to get more acquainted with the people that our children are spending the most time with. They're at school most of the day. And sometimes when they get home from school, we're not even home from work yet. So they are spending a lot of time with these people. Get acquainted with them. If they call you with a gripe, listen, I think that your daughter is wearing clothes that's a little inappropriate. You don't get to tell that person, well, you don't buy their clothes. You want her to wear something better, you buy it. No, you're a parent now. You have to approach this with a better and a more responsible demeanor, okay? You have to understand that it's not just you raising your child, it's these people that's raising your child as well. And they want the better for them. Where we lack at, we find ourselves in a boat to where sometimes the teachers care about the kids more than we care about them.
Facts.
So we have to do better, one, at the house, two, when it comes to being more active at the house as well. Do you know your kid's Instagram account? Do you set any boundaries on their devices? Can they just be on it at 2-3 in the morning on any website? Are you setting any restrictions? Do your son get to visit X videos if he want to? Are you taking the extra steps to make sure that in this new generation, the digital generation, that your child is as safe as possible? I made a huge mistake in 2017 when I looked at my wife in her face and I said, babe, it's about that time that we get Jamisa a phone, right? She was against it. She was like, no, babe, I don't think that she's ready for it. Her dad had issues with it because he was worried about her getting catfished in emails. He was worried about emails. I'm like, email, man, who worried about emails? So I'm like, I'm not really thinking. I just said, I want to be able to talk to my baby when I want to talk to her. And we're in Brooklyn, New York, right? Get her the phone, right? Don't monitor shit. I ain't monitor nothing. I'm like, here, baby, take this. Just don't make no Instagram or nothing like that. Just trusted it, right? She was, how old was she? About 12, 13 years old? About 12, 13 years old, right? Next thing you know, within less than a half a year, man, my daughter slipped into a depression. She stayed in her room more than ever. And not just in her room, under the covers in her room. Under the covers, bro. I said, you know what? Let me get in tune. What's bothering this girl, right? So I take the phone and I look in it, right? She is researching this guy, may he rest in peace, XXXTentacion. Like a lot. She's in tune with this dude. This dude was the type of musician that sung about suicide all the time. He became very famous singing to our kids about suicide. Okay? And I had no clue. And I had to take responsibility. I had to take accountability for that. You understand? I took her phone and I blocked everything that had to do with XXXTentacion. Did my daughter not like me for it? She hated me for a few weeks, but she got over it. But guess what? In due time, she slipped out of that depression. She can't really pinpoint that might have been a huge factor of her slipping into that thing. But I saw as a father, paying attention to my kid, that she's different now. And I ignored her to a certain extent for a little while. I trusted something I didn't even understand. I didn't really understand the power of social media with children at that time. Because social media was still kind of new at the time. It was still kind of new to me. I'm still trying to understand it. But I allowed my child to be exposed to it. I was being irresponsible. So I had a problem to fix. And I think that as parents, we have a lot of problems to fix. But do we have the wherewithal to say to ourselves, we're making a mistake. We got to step up. We got to do more. We got to be annoying. It's okay to be annoying. It's fine. A lot of us are saying that we don't want to do this because we don't want our kids to think that we're lame. So what would these kids think? It don't matter what they think. They don't pay no bills. You got to know what's right and enforce it, period. Just like we said earlier, kids look at life through a kid's lens. They're not wrong for that. We're wrong for being adults and handling life through a kid's lens. We can't do that. Okay? We have to keep enforcing what's right. Shout out to all of the parents that is present, that is enforcing the correct narratives and instilling great morals into their children so that they can go to their educational places and be good students, be respectful students, be smart students, be students that want to be there to learn, not to just take TikToks. Okay? I think that this was a great episode today. This was a great conversation. We appreciate you, Michelle, coming through and even honing in on some of your personal life. That is super great. I appreciate the stories. Do you have anything else for the people that you might want to put out there? We are gonna have before you get into that, we are gonna have Michelle back up here because I'm gonna have a Buc-ee's episode because evidently Buc-ee's is a big deal. But do you have anything else for the people, for the parents out there, for the Katt Williams in the world or something like that? Any advice for anybody?
Well, I kind of like what you said. It's very important that parents really kind of hone in on what their kids are doing. I'm not saying take away, but just kind of know what's going on and be a little bit more in tune. Have conversation with your kids. Share experiences, and that's okay to tell them, what they have experienced or, even what you may have been through. It's okay. And it's important that they see, they may see you right now doing well. They may not know about any of your hardships, that you went through some things too.
Right.
I think that's really important. But from an educator perspective, definitely build a relationship with your child's teacher and communicate. Check their power score, check their grades. Email the teachers. I would rather get emails about a child's grade and how their child is doing versus what I'm not doing as a, well, you didn't, you said such to my child, no, communicate with me, email me. I would rather get that. You be that nagging parent. That's the type of nagging parent I want to communicate with me and let me know that, you're really in tune with what's going on in the classroom. I think that's important, that you continue just, be in contact.
That's real.
Know what's going on, even with the curriculum. Know what's going on. Check your kids, make sure I don't have a problem with a parent questioning what I'm teaching, because that's your job to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Right. So that's the most important. As it relates to Katt Williams, I learned a lot about him through his interview. Yeah, he made a lot of valid points. In his interview about himself and the things he went through. Right. And I have to commend him, for everything that he went through and still becoming successful. I hate that it had to come to that through this media, and the way that, his perspective of it, because I did watch everybody else's response, and I also like how, they took the high road and they were just being nice. It wasn't nothing, nobody said nothing back that, when Ricky Smiley responded, it was, taking the high road. Right. And that's what we need to see people do more of. Right. If you're hurt, I'm not really, you come for me, I'm not even going to come for you. You win, you're right, but listen, it's nothing but love, out here between us, that kind of thing, so that, the world could be better.
That's real. That's real. I appreciate that. And for the listeners out there, just hold on. We will be right back after these messages. So we hope you're enjoying the show so far. This is just a friendly reminder to follow us on all social media platforms.
Yes, please do. Follow us on YouTube. We got an Instagram, we got TikTok, and a Patreon.
That's a fact. And with all of those platforms, we do offer different things. Our YouTube, of course, is going to have full episodes. You'll have everything, and you'll also have some shorts on there. On our Instagram community, we upload highlights. So these clips could span from 2 minutes all the way up to about 6 to 7 minutes. On our TikTok, of course, these clips are a little shorter, but the conversation is real. Our comments are going crazy, and on this platform, you could utilize it to have a conversation and debate back and forth if you want to.
Our Patreon, we got exclusive videos.
Oh yeah, all the spicy stuff that's a little bit too spicy for YouTube. So as we're transitioning into a live podcast, yeah, you will get the live shot at first, but there might be some things and some parts of the conversation that get a little too wild that we might have to cut off in the edit. On our Patreon, you can subscribe to us and get full access to all exclusive content. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, I just want to put a little of my 2 cents into this whole thing. Like Michelle said, I do completely agree. Talks with your kids, let them know things. I think sharing your experiences with them helps them to kind of understand a little bit more instead of talking at them. Because when you talk to them and tell them what you experienced, it's easier taking in, like, okay, she been through something similar. Maybe I can see where she's coming from, or I can follow what she's saying because she's been through this before. Blindly saying do this, do that, that doesn't work.
True.
It doesn't work at all. Please put limits on these kids' phones. Their social media is dangerous. What they pick up and what they can see and how it forms a person from what they see and think it's okay because everybody else all their friends are doing it. Nobody's saying nothing. No parents are saying, oh, this is bad. We shouldn't do this. You shouldn't watch this or whatever. Limit your children what they're watching.
No, that's true. That's true. I agree 100%, baby, on that. Like, you know, so let's get more active. Let's get more active all 2024 and beyond. Let's challenge ourselves this year to be more active and better parents. Poor Cat Williams, for what you've endured, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, you know, you get away with murder because you've been through some bullshit, but I am sorry that you had to go through that, my brother. I can relate to you. Super proud of you, man, and I will continue to watch your movies. But with that, we're gonna close out this show. Dope episode, and as always, it's your boy Convo.
I'm Jaleesa.
Peace.
Bye.